Can you tell me how did you find out about the ETD and what are your some conditions?
I had a friend up in Chicago who was very interested in advanced things in the health field. And she first heard about it by calling someone who she'd known from California. It was sort of a national network at that point. People who'd heard about the work that Wayne Hunter was doing here and had recognized the fact that he was an inventor who'd come up with a different application for, I guess, some of the same principles that are used in MRIs these days and things like that.
Sure.
And so she was very interested in it, and we made a trip down together with about 10 or 12 other people from Chicago who came down at the same time. And we all had sessions, and we noticed tremendous amounts of improvement. The only people who didn't have improvement were there were one or two people who couldn't give up alcohol for the period of time that it took to get it working.
Now, what is your particular condition and how did it help?
Well, I've been diagnosed as having Parkinson's disease, and it's been a couple of years now, and I have, in the meantime, been taken the trip from Chicago down to Houston 4 times, this may be even the 5th time. One friend and I, she had different medical problems, came down ourselves and stayed for a couple of days each time and got to see what was happening here. We couldn't quite believe it at first, and one of my kids is a doctor and one's a lawyer, and they all poo-pooed the whole thing.
Like,
They
what
thought-
were you saying that you couldn't believe?
Well, I think what I couldn't believe was what I was seeing down here. People who were coming in with aches and pains and serious conditions. One fellow was here with a brain tumor. We saw other people coming in just barely able to walk. And all of them left in better shape. They really did. We were so impressed with the care that they were given here that Wayne had set things up so that everyone who came in to be a subject to be treated was treated with great respect, and it wasn't he wasn't willing to use a factory approach on it, even though he was doing this in part to keep records himself of what was working and what wasn't. They kept very good records along the way of how much improvement in certain symptoms we'd had in the course of one session even.
Well, could you tell me particularly what are some of the symptoms you have due to Parkinson's and how your energy level is?
Energy level has been absolutely on the floor. Before I first came down, I was not able to move, literally. There was almost a paralysis, rolling over, lifting my head. All sorts of things were very difficult. And in addition to the Parkinson's tremor, which I still have some of, and which they told me to begin with would probably not be affected by the machine. But it affected everything else. My energy level skyrocketed. I was able to head off on vacations. I was able to handle all sorts of things. Instead of shuffling along, I was able to walk long distances. I started taking physical therapy, and that didn't do nearly as much for me as coming down for the electromagnetic business here, the device.
Are you on any medication right now?
No, I'd refused them.
Okay.
Because I had talked with a couple of doctors who were pretty well placed, who talked about the side effects of the medications. And the first thing I found out was that there were no bad side effects with this process.
You mean with the ETD?
With ETD. It was all very positive. There were no bad aftermaths. And I'd had some medical advice that said, don't start taking the standard Parkinson's medication. I belonged to a couple of groups.
Go ahead.
I belonged to a couple of groups that where I see other people with Parkinson's. And those people I see getting worse and worse and worse every time we meet. I'm still without any mental blockages. One of the side effects of the Parkinson's medication is dementia. And I'm leading too busy a life to have time for something like that. I'm not about to. And I see the differences between my abilities and those of other people in these Parkinson's groups that I've been visiting. And this is just head and shoulders above it. The energy to do things, to travel. I'm a great traveler.
Could you tell me your age and?
Getting older every minute. I just turned 76.
Okay.
And the Parkinson's now has been part of my life for a couple of years, and this has been part of my life for nearly that long, because we first started more than a year ago. And I brought family members in with me, and they too are just as amazed as I am at what a good effect it's having on me and on the other people that are using it. They found it hard to believe. One of my kids is a neurologist, and I'm thinking of trying to get him to come on down to get some of his aches and pains taken care of here too.
So, I attest to say that you're a believer in the product on the ETD?
Very much so. I think it's the best thing that's happened. I've heard of some other approximations of it, and this machine does far more and does it in less time without any side effects. That I can't emphasize that enough, because nearly any medication people are taking has some pretty strong side effects, and this does not. It's all a plus.
Well, thank you very much.
I would recommend it to anyone.
Thank you very much. I hope your health continues to improve. And
thank you very much.
And we appreciate you coming down here, and hope you get much better.
No, I see a real difference, and I wouldn't miss this for anything. I hope they are able to spread the word out to many more people. It's that important to me and to other people I've seen here.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.